أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ولا عاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقضى به الحوائج وتنال به الرغائب وحسن الخواتم ويستسقى الغمام بوجهه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس بعدد كل معلوم لك. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك عفو والعافية في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. توفنا مسلما والحقنا بالصالحين. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وشاكرا وتوبة نصوحا. اللهم ربنا يا ربنا يسر لنا يا رحمن الراحمين. رب يسر ولا تعسر. رب تمم بالخير. رب زدني علما وفهما والحقنا بالصالحين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ودعاء لا يسمع وعمل لا يرفع ونفس لا تشبع. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أما بعد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My respected brothers and very respected sisters, Jazakumullah khair al-jaza for joining us this evening in this beautiful mosque at Coburg Islamic Center, Melbourne, Australia. And all those brothers and sisters and their families watching us over the internet, welcome to our evening. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah into our learning, khair into our learning, turn into a beneficial learning inshallah ta'ala, so that we apply in our daily lives. It becomes an agent of change in our hearts, so that we become inshallah more serious Muslims, more practicing Muslims inshallah. We are going through the very basic Faraid as enumerated by the great Imam of the Tabi'een, Imam Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah, the 54 Faraid. We're going through a sharh of it, and we have covered so far 6 complete Faraid, and we are going through the 7th one. That is, it is fard upon every Muslim to make sure that what goes through his throat, into his tummy, what he consumes, what he wears, what he earns must be 100% halal, from halal sources. We have covered so many areas in this area because this is to do with a major part of our lives. Every day we are in this process of earning our living. One single morsel of haram food, haram substance, haram of anything that comes into our heart, comes into our body, affects our spiritual heart, our salat, our dua, our ibadah is not accepted. No virtue, no benefit comes from it for 40 days. So this is a very important aspect of our deen. No Muslim shall ever progress in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if he does not firstly take care of his halal food. You can never be a good Muslim, you can never be an abid, an arif, you can never be anything in Islam if your first step in your practice of Islam does not go through the halal process. It must be halal. So you need to be extremely careful. You need to be vigilant in your approach to everything that brings any benefit to you. Anything and everything. You cannot say it's only a little amount. It's insignificant. What you think is irrelevant. What Islam thinks, what Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam thinks, what Qur'an al-Kareem thinks is the most important. What the Sharia thinks is the important. Otherwise, there are so many Muslims, out of pure ignorance, they feed themselves, not only feed themselves with haram, and they don't care about small things, but they also feed their children with haram, with their family members with haram. Then after 10, 20 years, when the child turns into an obnoxious being, turns into a harami, turns into a disobedient child, they said, what did I do wrong? It is all your fault. It began with your feeding of haram to your child. There are so many windows of opportunities from haram in this country. And if you're not a God-fearing person, a muttaqi person, it is glow of opportunity. You can just go and fetch anything you want. And it is within the law, not a problem. Within the accepted law, no problem. But the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is something different. You need to learn what is haram, you need to learn what is halal, earning, living, food. Otherwise you'll always fall into that trap of shaitan alayhi la'na, the temptation of nafsul ammara. I got some children, I caught some children, our Muslim brethren, younger ones, students, eating certain lollies. I said, why do you eat these lollies? They are clearly haram. And they said, no, somebody said that it was okay. They rang the factory up. I said, who's somebody? The Sharia court? The halal board? No, it's not. It is somebody that their friend. So conveniently, without even investigating the matter, whether this person has done it or not, because I rang the person, he said, no, there is no such thing. I never did anything as such. So they use his good name to eat haram. And it's okay for them. And no wonder you can't do your salat. And even if you did your salat, it's a chore. It's such a burden on you. You can't get up for Fajr because this heart is dead because you're feeding with haram. So we went through so many different aspects of haram food and halal food. We went through all the additives, pork meat and pork dressing and you name it, pigs, and we went through so many of them. Now we brought our discussion towards what are means of halal earning, the avenues in the Sharia, halal earnings, income, and the haram earnings. We went through and covered, I thought I covered many of the things, but the number of questions I received from people is quite fascinating. The last thing that last week we talked about was on riba. And riba and the usury and all the related stuff. We went through the halal means of earnings. But the questions I kept on getting all week through emails and SMSs were on these things, which I believe that I did not cover. The frequently asked questions on earnings from income from waqf, endowments, trusts. The income that we get from if you are engaged in fortune telling or giving to the fortune teller, the money. I will explain inshallah. This is a big disease in the Muslim community today. Income from zakat. Some people abuse zakat money. The next one is income from begging. One of the most frequent asked questions was begging. We go to Muslim countries, every corner there is a beggar. There is a huge network of, beggars are going. It's a huge business. Is this halal? How come there is no begging in Australia? There is begging in Australia, but you don't see it. When you receive any income from cheating other people's rights, or in a different form, more specific form, is income from deception by using the law to your advantage and not giving the rights of others. And you cheat, basically, deceive others using the best lawyers not to pay the debt that you owe the other person. All these incomes, what happens? They all amount to haram. So inshallah, I want to go through the basic concept of zakat first, because zakat seems to be one of the main questions. There is a more qualified person amongst us, the former Mufti, Sheikh Salim is sitting amongst us. If I do any mistake, I ask him to inshallah correct me, because we're all human beings, and sometimes certain subtle points that I might miss out in order to endeavor or try to summarize things. So if there is any pertinent and important issue, he should inshallah ta'ala ask us, tell us. Another point that I want to make, something completely different. And quite a few sisters who are sitting at the back, of whom I cannot see, they are complaining that they cannot see the notes. And there are quite a few people complaining on the internet that they can't see the notes. So inshallah, we're working on some sort of a solution to this problem. I have discussed with my staff. We might be putting a plasma TV inside, a large TV for the sisters, so they can get this feed onto the plasma TV, and perhaps on the side they can see me. Inshallah ta'ala, if you want to contribute towards this particular expense, please come and see me afterwards. We will welcome all that contribution, inshallah ta'ala. It's a need. There is a technical wiring and what have you. There's some equipment that we have to buy. Inshallah ta'ala, we will ask you. Another thing that I can easily tell you, alhamdulillah, all of our slots for internet is completely full for the last 3-4 weeks. People are complaining that they can't log onto the system because it's overwhelming. The numbers of people are approaching. It is at the moment costing us over $400 to $500 a month, this particular process. So we want to increase our capacity to reach to thousands of people to the best of our ability, because the quality that we provide, the technology that we provide is a cutting-edge technology. We are gifted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by good technical staff, brothers who are very good in what they do, and they use the cutting-edge technology. Nobody uses this in the world. Alhamdulillah, we have achieved such a quality that people are making constant dua to us. I received so many SMSs. Somebody said yesterday, Jazakumullahu khairul jaza. We've been trying to invite you to our area for so long, and all of a sudden we found you in our homes. The whole family sat together with the children, and we watched and we benefited from your class. Can you imagine if this enters into the houses every week, twice, and the ladies who's got so many commitments, children, cannot come to the masjid. They put on their internet and watch a dars, a class they can take notes and listen to together. There are so many places in Australia. Groups of people get together, in numbering 60, 70 people in each area. They get a projector, we set up a system for them, and they watch this and they learn. So this is something inshallah we're working on. If you want to contribute towards it, you can do two things. One is log on to the site yma.com, ymatv.com, and there is a donation button there. We're still primitive in our web design. It's coming, a new design is coming. So inshallah you can contribute on regular basis for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or you can directly come and see me. You can directly come and see me, and inshallah we will give you a receipt, and then inshallah we will put it into the expenses account, inshallah ta'ala. Yes, somebody was asking a question.
Is it possible to make it subscription based so that the cost can grow exponentially?
We should get a fatwa from the Shaykh here, whether it is permissible to charge for these lessons on the internet for people. So we should say, if you're coming to the mosque for free, but if you watch it over the internet, it's money. Is that what you're saying? Yes. Inshallah, I have to get my heart to agree to this fatwa, and I have to get the Shaykh to agree to this fatwa. And after that, inshallah, we can work out something. But at the moment, we want to provide as free as possible, because every Islamic site, so to speak, of certain quality, they ask for certain money. Because it's expensive. It's really expensive. But this could not continue with dribs and drabs. This has to be contributed by real serious Muslims who believe in the da'wah. Rich brother, here's $80,000. My contribution this year. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to me. You don't have to mention my name. This is fillah. Everybody who learns from this, I have duplicated my hasanat machine, multiplier effect. I get all their hasanats into my account. This is sadaqah jariyah of the modern sense, technological sense. But some people can only afford $10, $30. It's up to them. Ahlan wa sahlan. But this 5, 6, 10 rich Muslims should get together and take this off the ground. We can provide the most professional broadcasting, live streaming in the world. But we don't have the means. Financial difficulty is our difficulty at the moment. So if you are at the forefront of thinking of these, along these lines, you're most welcome to join to what I say to you, what I invite you to, inshallah. For others, inshallah, I'll remind every now and then. So we are working on the project probably within 2 to 3 weeks. We'll set up a system where sisters can watch properly and the people on the internet can have access to the notes at the same time. That was another question that people keep on asking. That we should have the notes with us so we can continue. Those notes will be ready and they can even see the notes and the projected images on their system, inshallah. We're working on this one. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, allow us to succeed in this regard for His sake, inshallah. Zakat. We started our journey on zakat. The question most asked about zakat, who do we give zakat to? And what are the categories of people that we give zakat to? And can we give zakat money to the mosque? Can we use zakat money to da'wah work? Can we use zakat money to some technology, buy a computer for the mosque, for example? Or plasma TV, I've got some zakat money. Is this allowed? The simple answer is definitely not. Because zakat is a unique ibadah in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A unique and remarkable institution and major pillar of Islam that we all know is zakat. Zakat is not a charity. Zakat is not a sadaqah. Zakat is not an almsgiving. Nor is it an expression of kindness. But rather it is a combination of all things I said to you in one, but it is an obligation, a fard from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you must do if you are Muslim. If you are qualified to give zakat, if your wealth is above a miqtar, a stipulated means tested, it's called nisab miqtar. If it's above this, you must give zakat. There are rules and regulations of how much to give. As we majority of us know, 2.5% of our cash, money, and what have you, the jewelry that we have, gold and silver in particular, not diamonds or anything as such, that a year, a full Islamic year passes over of these savings that you have, which is above the amount of nisab miqtar, that you must calculate and you must give zakat of that particular wealth that you have. If it's less than that, you don't have to pay at all. There are some complications as to how much you have to have in order to give. According to some, 200 dirhams of silver, 647 grams, 500 grams, 540. You see, I'm very cautious. The Sheikh is a Hanafi from Turkey. The Hanafi from Pakistan and India are different in this calculation. They come up with a different figure. So I had to use the Turkish ones in order to make the Sheikh happy. Otherwise he'll be correcting me all night long and you'll be having entertainment more than anything else, inshallah. And how much gold? 90 grams of gold? He said, I'm not saying anything. 84.6 grams of gold, 90 grams of gold. They calculate. Or if you have stock, livestock, there is a different criteria for it. Either 3 or 5 or 10 or the certain amounts you're given according to the size of the stock that you have, whether it's a sheep, ghanam, or the cows and cattle, or it is camel, the numbers differ. So since you are not camel drivers or the farmers at the moment, the zakat issue is different. So what I suggest to you, in order to learn zakat properly, you go to any of our mu'tabar, accepted books on fiqh, open up, it's a major pillar of Islam, Kitabuz Zakat, the book of zakat, and read it according to the madhab that you follow. Because it differs a lot. In certain, definitions and certain explanations, it differs. So there are so many books available. If you're Shafi'i, go to Reliance of Traveler in English. You'd find a huge section and explained so quickly, so nicely. If you're Hanafi, go to Nur al-Idah. Available in English, one of the basic foundational book that has been taught in the Muslim world for the last 800-900 years. Not a problem, reliable book. Open up, it's available, and learn it. Don't read every zakat book that you get your hands on, because you'll be confused. Whatever persuasion that you follow, whatever the madhab that you follow, just go and read, and inshallah practice it, you'll be on the right path. But the thing that I want to make a point about is to whom zakat can be given. This is very clearly stated in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah At-Tawbah, verse 60. Surah At-Tawbah, verse 60. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم وفي الرقاب والغارمين وفي سبيل الله وابن السبيل فريضة من الله والله عليم حكيم صدق الله العظيم. Zakat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, contributions of cash, money, merchandise, animals, etc. are for the who? Poor, the needy, and those who collect them, for those whose hearts are to be reconciled, and to the free, to free the captives and the debtors, and for the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for the wayfarer, a duty, a fard, ordained, commanded by Allah, and verily Allah is all-knowing, all-wise. I broke down these into proper terms, so these are specific terms that you must, if you memorize, there are only 8 categories, not much. 8 simple words you memorize, and understanding the meanings, and you shall be okay. Anything outside this is not zakat. You cannot give zakat to outside this. The first is the fuqara. Everybody knows what faqir is. Fuqara means people who are poor and who possess more than their basic needs, but do not possess wealth equal to the nisab miqdar. The needy. The people who've got some basic wealth, but not enough to pay zakat to other people. They're fuqara. Faqir. Simple. The first priority goes to the fuqara. That's the haqq, zakat. Second, the masakin. The people who are, miskin is the singular, masakin is the plural. Like faqir is singular, fuqara is the plural. Miskin is the singular, masakin is the plural. People who are destitute and extremely needy to the extent that they are forced to beg for their daily food ration. Less than the fuqara. Miskin is less than a faqir person. Masakin. Anybody can be put into this situation. You could be a rich person, and all of a sudden you lost all your cards and everything else. You don't even have a, 10 cents or 40 cents or 50 cents, I don't know how much these days, $1 to make a phone call. So what are you going to do? You're stranded. And you've been sitting on the roadside of the road for 2 days. There's no food, there's no nothing. What are you going to do? Although you have so much money at home, but you don't have anything right at the moment. As in, you're away from your homeland, away from your environment. You're a tourist, for example. You've been mugged. You've been, the thefts have stolen everything from you. Then what are you going to do? That particular section comes in a minute. But certain people by default are, because of the disparity within the community of the way the scarce resources are distributed, there's some really, really needy. We call them miskin, masakin. So this is the second group of people. Al-amilin, those persons who are appointed by an Islamic state, head of the state or government, to collect zakat. These are the public servants who specialize in collecting zakat. It is not necessary that this person to be a needy person. He works on a wage. In other words, the government gives wages from that zakat or some other means to this person. But you can't give this person gift when he's collecting zakat. That will be regarded as, remember last week, rushwa, bribery. You don't do this. But this person, from the zakat that he collects, the government can give certain amount as his wages, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala indicates in the Qur'an. So can we say, brother, I work for the Islamic Society of Coburg and I collect zakat from people. Can I get some of the zakat money too, myself? Definitely not. Definitely not. Mu'allafatul qulub are the people who have recently accepted Islam and are in need of basic necessities. Because as soon as you become a Muslim, in this day and age, the first thing that your parents do is to reject you. They kick you out of the house. If you're a young person, I've seen so many, they come to us. Young persons, they've got nowhere to turn to. But in this country, alhamdulillah, there is a welfare system. Commonwealth of Australia, the land of honey and milk, provides certain necessities for you. But if your income is tied to your parents' income, so to speak, your means tested according to your parents' income, and by law they say, sorry, you have to go back home, but the parents don't accept you because you became a Muslim, there is so much you are in need, then this person, perhaps in this day and age, this money could be given to such person. But in the historical context, this was for the people who were coming to Islam. They're just newcomers to Islam, new people, and they're at the edge sometimes. In order to win their hearts to Islam, you give them zakat money to accept Islam at that time. But after there is a law came into existence during the time of Umar radiallahu and perhaps others, that since there is no more mu'allafatul qulub, everybody is a Muslim. There is no, this particular thing cannot be applied. But I still say, and some of the perhaps the ulama of today, in certain countries, if you go to Malaysia, if you go to Burma, I've seen Muslims in Burma, my heart still cries for them. You cannot become a Muslim in Burma. It's against the law. If you become a Muslim, and if they find out, you do it secretly, if they find out, they will confiscate all of your property. They can take all your house, your car, your wealth away from you. You are stranded on the street on your own. You either become a Buddhist or nothing else. This is in Burma. So if Allah puts Iman into the heart of a person, they want to become a Muslim, they leave the borders, they go to Pakistan, they go to another country, they become Muslim and secretly come back. In front of others, they look like Buddhists. But in their own hearts and amongst the people that they trust, they are Muslims. So difficult. So these people perhaps can be given certain amount of money, so as zakat. But in Australia, zakat should be given to the people who are suffering, who are in need. There are so many masakin, so many fuqara in this country. You should help the people in your own home first before you distribute the money to somewhere else. Ar-riqab, those slaves that are permitted to work in order to free themselves by paying certain amount of money to their master. Now this is to do with slavery. A mukatab, slave, is a person who made an agreement with his master. Say, if I work for you for 7 years, if I paid you $75,000, will you let me be free? Give me my freedom. He says, yes, you give me $75,000, I'll let you free. And he works, he gets a job and he works. But he cannot get a job and he's short perhaps $20,000. From the zakat money, he's a Muslim person. You help him to buy his freedom from his perhaps a non-Muslim master or somebody else, na'udhu billah. Islam, I don't want you to misunderstand this concept. There is no slavery at the moment in the old context, but there is plenty of slavery of the modern context in this day and age. Majority of us are slaves to our works. Majority of us slaves to everything else, the system, the way it works. We don't have any freedom of any kind. We are the slaves to our passions, slaves to our desires. That's besides the point. But in the historical context, there used to be an institution worldwide, 100% accepted and practiced by every society on earth. until recently, until the turn of the 18th, 19th century, this was a common thing amongst the human beings. Buying and selling human beings in the markets, to be a slave in your household. But Islam came into this particular system, and Islam used every opportunity to eradicate and demolish this system. If you made a major mistake in your life, if you committed a haram, for example, in your life, the first thing that Islam asks you to do as a kaffara is to free a slave. Before you fast, before you pay money, you pay before you do this, you do this, Islam asks you to free a slave. Because, and we had to, as Muslims, when we defended our borders, when we were in jihad, fighting with the kuffar, rejectors of the truth, we only fought with the combatant soldiers. And how about if they died? And we have taken over their country. Conquest has taken place. We conquered that place. How about their women and children and all the elderly? Who's going to look after them? They've got nobody to look after. So all these, by the government, Islamic government, put them in an area, absolutely humane treatment, where these people are distributed to the people who went to the war, the Ghazis, into their families, and they are given to be looked after, but they don't have any freedom. They don't get any money. They don't get anything, but they are treated exactly the same. The same food that you eat, same clothing that you wear with your children, on your children. You have to look after them. You have to respect their rights. But Islam stipulates what are the conditions and the haqq and hukuk, the rights of a slave person. But Alhamdulillah, Islam completely eradicated the system. There is no slavery system today at all. But Qur'an says, addressing to the Muslims at that time, one of the means, one of the positive approaches, he says, if a slave wants to free himself by paying you his ransom, should allow him to do so. And if he went into a contract like this and he cannot pay you because he doesn't have much time, or he's elderly, so to speak, pay this sum of the zakat money to free him. Muslims use every opportunity. Subhanallah. Umar radiallahu anh, the head of the state, before he was even head of the state, when he was a Muslim, he was given so many slaves. But the slaves learned a trick to free themselves from Umar. How? Umar is a kind person. He doesn't hit, he doesn't ill-treat his slaves or anything as such. They learned that if you pretend to be a good Muslim next to Umar, and every now and then you say, La ilaha illallah, astaghfirullah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, he lets you go. He lets you go because he frees you. Really? Trick amongst the other slaves. And all the slaves who come into possession of, so to speak, given to Umar radiallahu anh sees, oh, mashallah, you're free, go. I give you freedom. Some other Muslims who understand this trick, they said, Ya Umar, they're tricking you. They're tricking you with Allah. And he says, we don't mind being tricked with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, don't worry, go. Allah is going to reward me for what I am doing. Slavery is an institution that existed, that does not exist in its original form in this world today. Okay? So don't ask me any questions on slavery. Islam is the one who was at the forerunner in abolishing this particular system before so-called democracy and Western system ever thought of in the turn of the century before. Okay? You must understand this. So if anybody in that situation, we must give them money to free themselves. Al-Gharimin. Sixth category. The persons that have a debt and do not possess any other wealth or goods with which they could repay that which they owe. It is conditional that this debt was not created for an un-Islamic or sinful purpose. So somebody borrowed some money because they were in a difficult situation. For example, in Australia, this happens. All of a sudden, somebody very close to you and your family member passes away. Subhanallah, the undertaker, the funeral parlor, the people who say Islamic service, they charge you $8,000 minimum. If you want to send it to overseas, about $14,000. It's good money. I don't know what the expenses are, but that's what you have to say. If you just got married and you don't even have a job yet, you're a student, and amount of $8,000, $12,000 that you have to pay to these people, how are you going to pay this? And genuine need, that you are in need of money. So for a Muslim, rich Muslim person, comes to the aid of this person and pays his debt, in this regard, is also a person who is absolutely down-pressed with debt. We can do this. However, oh brother, I can't pay my payments on my, the interest on my second investment of the second house. Oh, please, can you give me some money? As from your zakat. No, you cannot. We're not, any haram dealings of any haram smelling stuff, keep away. We're talking about genuine case of need. This person who is regarded as al-gharimeen, a person who is in need of, the debtors are, the people, collectors are chasing him. He can't even go to his house because the sheriff is waiting outside for him, because he wants to collect everything that he possesses. He's got nothing, and yet they want to lock him up, and he can't pay. One day, Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala an, one of the four Abadila, the cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the mufassir of this ummah, young person who received such a dua from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And according to the mufassirin and the companions, he was the one who used to look most like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his facial features. Abdullah ibn Abbas, his first cousin. He was making i'tikaf in the masjid of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you are in i'tikaf, that means you make intention to stay in the masjid and you cannot go outside the masjid. All you do is ibadah and fast during the day, usually in the last 10 days of Ramadan, which is sunnah, or you can do i'tikaf for any other times. You're fasting during the day, the most preferable one, or you stay in the masjid and you don't leave. As soon as you come out of the masjid, your i'tikaf is gone, finished, khalas. Somebody walks into the masjid. He can see that he's really stressed out. He approaches Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. He says, "Oh Abdullah ibn Abbas, the cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, please, I need some help." He says, "What is it that you need?" He said, "The people I owe money to are chasing me. I promised them that I will pay this Wednesday, which is today, and it's been a month they're giving me a time, and I cannot pay this money. I don't have this money. I am not in possession of this money. I cannot pay this, but it's really difficult for me. Is it please possible for you to talk to these people to buy more time for me, so they can give me more their time so I can pay later?" He says, "True? Is that what you need?" He says, "No problem." He grabs his shoes and comes out of the masjid. What was he doing before? I'tikaf. He comes out of the masjid with his shoes. What happens to his i'tikaf? Finished. The person understood what he was doing. He said, "Oh no, but you were in i'tikaf. I am really sorry, I apologize. I didn't realize." Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu turned around and said to him, "Listen to me. 1 sa'ah, 1 hour i'tikaf in this masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will put a distance between that person and Jahannam. 70 years or 100 years of distance. In one version. Or huge distance. But he says, coming to the aid of a fellow Muslim who's in need in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, better than staying in i'tikaf in the masjid. This is our deen. Says, "Let's go, I'll talk to him. I know him. He will listen to me. I'll put my word, and he will respect me, and I'll buy you some more time, so you can go home and visit your family." Islam is so just, Islam is so fair, Islam is so beautiful. Helping those gharimeen from zakat money is also allowed. Fi sabilillah. If you go to any Islamic society, any mosque, after Jum'ah, fi sabilillah, fi sabilillah, fillah, fillah, fi sabilillah, they ask for money. And if they give you a receipt, they have fillah. Fillah is a short form for fi sabilillah. In the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanallah. What does that mean? Allah says in the Qur'an, fi sabilillah. Fi sabilillah, those persons that have to carry out a fard deed, which has become fard upon them, and subsequently, due to loss of wealth, are unable to complete that particular fard. For example, you're going to Hajj. All your money is with you. And for some reason, you lost your money. You are in the path. You're already somewhere near Jeddah. What are you going to do? You can't go back. You lost your passport, you lost your money, you lost everything. This particular person is in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you help this person from the zakat money, it is permissible. It is allowed to, you're allowed to give zakat to this particular person. Or a person who's going to the war, to defend the borders of Islam and Muslims, to fight with the preemptive strike of the enemy who wants to invade your country. You go and fight, but you don't have the means to pay for your equipment, for your gear, for your armor, for your shield, for the other necessities that enable you. So somebody gives and says, here it is. Because he's in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fi sabilillah is in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A common misunderstanding about the term fi sabilillah has misled many to believe that this includes all types of charitable deeds. The commentators, Mufassirun, and the hadith of Prophet ﷺ do not support this particular view. Fi sabilillah, in this context of this ayah, are the people who are stranded in the path. They cannot fulfill a particular fard obligation. If the person is going to jihad, it's fard on him to go to jihad because he's in the border. Not he's living in Australia, he wants to go and fight in Chechnya, because it's not fard on him to go and fight in Chechnya. But he lives in Chechnya and the enemies are coming in the borders. It fards upon him to go and fight, but he hasn't got the means. This is a fard that he wants to fulfill. You can help this person with zakat money in order to fulfill that particular function, this particular fard. This is fi sabilillah. Otherwise, the general use of the term that any charitable work is fi sabilillah, like I give money fi sabilillah, mashallah. What do you mean? Zakat money or some sadaqah? Sadaqah is also fi sabilillah. We do everything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, correct? In the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In that sense, it's okay. But zakat money fi sabilillah has to have those definitions. It must be given to a person who falls short or robbed out of a money that they were using it to fulfill a fard of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last one is Ibn Sabil. Ibn Sabil means those persons who are musafir, travelers, in the view of the Sharia. In other words, people are on the move. The courier service within the city is not a musafir. Somebody came to me and says, brother, I'm shortening my salat and making combination. I said, why? He lives in Melbourne. I know, he lives next door to me. He says, I'm a courier service. I do more than 90 kilometers a day in the taxi, in the courier service in the Melbourne, delivering parcels to Faulkner, Coburg, Brunswick, somewhere else. And he made up with a fatwa in his mind, because it's over 90 kilometers of journey, he has to be a musafir, therefore he shortens his salat and he combines his salat, convenient for him. This is haram, you cannot do this. There is a legal definition of a musafir, a person who moves away from his home and travels to another place and travels over 90 kilometers according to the Hanafi school. 90 kilometers, it's like you're going to Sydney or Brisbane or somewhere else, Adelaide. You're going to Ballarat, or you're going to Warrnambool, or you're going to Wagga Wagga or Dubbo. These are all traveling distances. As soon as you leave the outer limits of the city, you are regarded as a traveler. Although you have not reached 90 kilometers yet, you can shorten your salat. There are ahkam rulings very clearly stated in the Kitab al-Safar, or the book of traveling, in the fiqh books. I urge you to look there. Ibn Sabil is a person during the course of their journey do not possess basic necessities, though they are well to do at home. The person who lost his wallet, the person who lost all of his credit card, the person who lost his property. And he's not going to Hajj or anything as such, but he is in Sydney, stranded in Wagga Wagga, somewhere in the middle of the road. And you're a Muslim, and you have some zakat with you that you should pay, and you can help this person. Although this person is a millionaire, he owes more than you do at his own home. But at that particular moment, it's a temporary state that he does not have any possessions, so you can give some zakat money to this person to relieve of his situation. You don't say, here's $40,000, bro. No. You just give him a little money, that certain amount, doesn't matter from zakat, in order to alleviate his condition and change his condition, so he can make contacts or get the money onto himself. In this day and age, it's easy. All of the above mentioned 8 groups of recipients must be a Muslim, and all excluding al-amilin must be those who do not possess the nisab. So the amilin, the tax collectors, zakat collectors, could be a person who is also above the nisab miqdar. He can get money from zakat. That's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. This is a major difference between zakat and sadaqah. That is, sadaqah can be given to people who have means, whereas zakat cannot. And also sadaqah can be given to non-Muslims, whereas the zakat cannot, except they are mu'allafatul qulub. Their hearts are warming up for Islam. In order to win their hearts, although they are not Muslims at that time, you give that money to him to pull them into the fold of Islam. And it happened many a times. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did this many a times. In order to win, especially after Hudaybiyah, especially after Hunayn, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam distributed so much to the newcomers, the people who just converted. They've got no idea. But in order to win their hearts, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave so much to them. One particular incident stands out so much in the history. There is a hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says, "O people, know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most generous." He repeats this 3 times. Allah is the most generous. Then he says, I am the most generous amongst human beings. He talks about himself. This is the quality of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this person, after the Hunayn, he comes and he's sitting next to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He's a chief or somebody from some other neighboring villages. He's just looking at Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he's so poor in his own village. So when he sees the wealth of that time is ghanam, the sheep, goats, and if you have 1 or 2 of them, you are good, because you can milk them, you can eat them, you can use the wool on the back of the sheep, and you can utilize it's full on benefit. And when all the ghanam came, the ghanima came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, spoils of war to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there is one particular section. There are thousands, literally thousands of sheep in one meadow, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is looking at them, and the man is literally salivating. Wow, he's going, wow. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looks at him. He says, "Do you like them?" He says, "Yeah, I love them." He says, "You can have the lot. You can have the lot." "You sure? You haven't lost your mind? You give me this?" Says, No. We can have the lot. The person just became a Muslim. He takes all the sheep. All of a sudden he became a billionaire, not a millionaire, billionaire in one go. And he takes all this to his village. After a couple of hours, probably the size of the sheep, the whole flock, is bigger than the village. People say, where did you get this from? Did you kill some shepherds? Did you just, confiscate it from somebody? He says, no, no, no. I am coming from next to a man who's never afraid of being poor or destitute. He's not afraid of being faqir. He says, go and see him. Go and join him. The whole people just dropped everything and rushed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They all became Muslims. Winning the hearts of people through wealth is something that Islam used. In this day and age, Christian missionaries use the same tactic. How? In many Muslim countries, you go, what they give it to the poor Muslims. Last year alone, over 400 young people converted to Christianity in the eastern Turkey. Unheard of in the history of Islam. Young people converting to Islam. You go to Philippines, you go to Indonesia, you go to Malaysia. There are people who are called Orang Asli, the Aboriginals, who live in the jungles, the primitives. No Muslim goes there. I met the former Vice Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dr. Anwar Ibrahim, when I was younger, maybe 20 years ago. I asked him a question about this issue. He began to literally cry. He said, listen brother, I know what you're saying, that we should do da'wah to the people in our lands. We have a people called Orang Asli. These are pagans. These are not Muslims. They live in the jungles. The jungle people. We try so much. I encourage people personally to go and give a quadruple their wages. If they are getting 2,000 ringgit a month, I give them 10,000 ringgit a month to go and make da'wah, live with them and convert them to Islam. Yet they go and they stay for 2 days. On the third day they come back and resign their post, and they don't want to go to there anywhere again. And yet he says a Christian missionary all the way from UK, US, Netherlands, from Switzerland, from Brazil, they come part of the Catholic Church or another church, and they go into the jungle and live amongst these people, learn the language for 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, 4 years. They build a church, convert all of them together, and come and change posts. We're not doing our job. In Egypt, there are a group of people called Sa'idis. They are very, mashallah, strong, qawi Muslims. Christian missionaries came to their area. Without saying anything, without asking them anything, they begin to give them white goods, expensive stuff, fridge. They are usually very poor, the Asyud. The Sa'idis are very poor people. Oh, somebody's giving me a television. Somebody's giving me what? A fridge. Somebody's giving me furniture. They bought everything. They gave everything for every family. Thousands and thousands of dollars. After 2 months or 3 months or 6 months, there was an announcement. Such and such person who's giving you this, their manager is coming. He's going to see all of you and address you, talk to you. This manager happened to be the archbishop or whatever the person who's head at that time. He came and speaking to people, and in his regalia, formal dress, and he's addressing people. He says, "Oh people," with Arabic, proper, "do you know why we have given these things to you?" Everybody's listening. We are listening, go on. Go on. Because we are Christians. We love Jesus. Jesus is our Savior. You have to become Christian. You see, we are generous people, and we want to give you all of these things, and even more if you become Christians. Muslims, they looked at each other. One of the Sa'idi got up, young man. He says he lost his mind. Wahhadu! Says, La ilaha illallah. Say La ilaha illallah. Everybody says, La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. The guy is in shock and awe, dismay, astonishment. He says, what do we do now? All the money that we spend is gone for nothing on these people. So let's pack up and go. They give up on these people. Not everybody is the same. I've seen in Pakistan, land of Pakistan, land of a so-called Islamic Republic, people converting into Christianity. Churches in Murray, you go, built by missionaries. We are so behind in our work. So, how did we come into this discussion in the first place? Zakat should be given to the people in order to win their hearts to Islam. But, brother, this da'wah work, let me make announcement, television program, zakat. No, not this one. We're talking about the individual. The person who's been coming to the masjid. He's been coming for the last 2 weeks to the masjid, and he's actually fasting, but he's not a Muslim yet. So, in order to be good, even in this case, you can give salams to him. As scholars say, because his heart is very close to Islam. All he does is a little push. That little push will come and become a Muslim. He already decided, but he's not taking the next step. You can't give salams to a non-Muslim, correct? But in this case, you're teaching him, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. He's half Muslim. He's almost becoming a Muslim. So these are the mu'allafat al-qulub. Okay? So, what are the points, certain points? It is not permissible in the Sharia to give zakat to a person who owns merchandise or wealth in excess of his needs to the value of nisab, nor is it permissible for such person to accept zakat. He's got houses, he's got this and this for investment, he's got merchandise and everything else, but he hasn't got any cash. You can't give any zakat to this person. I went a couple of weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer. I went to counsel one particular Muslim family. I had the shock of my life. Literally, 4 sons and her husband and wife, her parents, are literally crying. I said, why are you so crying? The lady is crying, the man is crying. The bank is going to take over. The bank is going to take over. We can't make the payments. I said, okay. Tell me, what are your assets? How much do you owe? And how much do you own? Your liabilities and your assets. Well, they said, we own this, and this. Okay, what's the value, net value? $7.2 million. And how much do you owe to the bank? Clear the debt. This, and this, $2.2 million. I said, where were you when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala distributed aql? They looked at me, what do you mean? Sell this, pay the bank, and you're $5 million. Free, debt free. You don't have to do anything as such. You don't have to go through this stress each month that you have to pay the payment for the bank. Yeah, they said, why did we think of this before? Following morning, they went to the lawyers and they liquidated those assets, paid the whole sum to the bank, and they are millionaires, still $5 million debt free. Aql, intellect. So you don't go to such person, if I had zakat with me, oh, they're so stressful, they can't pay to the bank, they're cash poor, here's zakat, you pay to the bank. I can't do this, not allowed to do this. Because they are millionaires. Got it? So you need to understand the concept properly. A person that does not own the amount equal to the value of nisab is known as faqir. This person could be given zakat, and it is permissible for him to accept zakat. A person, by the way, if that family, if I gave zakat, I am committing haram. And if they accepted this zakat money from me, they are also committing haram. Make sense? Because they cannot take this money, it's haram for them. I am not going to go to further detail because I am running out, because I need to discuss a few other things with you. Zakat cannot be given to Bani Hashim. We discussed this before. Who are they? Ahlul Bayt, the children of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from Fatima to Zahra and Ali karamallahu wajha. sharifs as well as the sayyids. If they are 100% sure that they are sayyids and the sharifs, that they have proof, lineage, no problem, they cannot accept any sadaqah or zakat for that matter. Zakat cannot be given to parents. Why, bro? They're poor. Zakat is for the poor. To look after your parents is fard on you. You need to share your food, your income, your everything with your parents. You need to look after them. They are not fuqara. If they are faqir because of you, you don't look after them, you are a major sinner. A person came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam complaining, full of complaints. He says, Ya Rasulullah, my father takes all my wealth, my food, comes to home and gets my food and gets this and gets this and gets this. Complaining about who? His father. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, call your father here. His father came, an old person, maybe 85, 90. And Rasulullah asked him, is his allegation correct? That you go to his house and take his property and eat from his property and you help yourself with his property? He says, yes, Ya Rasulullah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, expecting person to explain. He says, Ya Rasulullah, in my young days, when I was young, healthy, I looked after them. I brought them up. I got them married. I let them establish themselves. And alhamdulillah, they have children. But now I am old, weak, frail. I can't work. And I have no income whatsoever. So I am taking from my child's property, food, so I can feed myself. Nothing else, nothing more. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam began to cry of the situation. And he turned around to the young man, he says, everything you possess, including you and everything that you possess, belongs to your father. Everything that you possess, your wealth, your accounts, your bank accounts, your properties, your assets, including you, all belong to your father. This is Adin. So it is fard upon you to look after your father. If you are the breadwinner, if you are the son, if you are married off to somebody else, that's a different story. It is a moral duty to help your father. But the fardness goes on to the son to look after the parents. This is an obligation. So, can I give my zakat to my father? Get lost. What are you trying to do? You can't give zakat to your father. You need to look after your parents. Grandfather? Definitely not. In the same category. There is no difference between father and grandfather. In the same manner, one's children and grandchildren cannot be given zakat. Oh, my second son is really poor, man. I want to give my zakat to him. You cannot. He's got a large family, man. I want to give my zakat to him. Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say one of the 8 categories? No. You are obliged to look after. Help that person because he is directly in your line of blood, next of kin. You need to look after. They are not strangers. If they were outside, it's a different story altogether. If they're directly related to your bloodline, as in right under you or just above you, in this usul, you cannot pay zakat to this person. You can give sadaqah, you can help them, donate them, you can help them in any way financially, but not zakat. Zakat is very special and specific. A husband and wife cannot give zakat to each other. Some people say, sugar. We thought that we can keep the wealth in our family, so we don't have to pay anything. You give me zakat 1 year, I pay the zakat next year. You give me the zakat 1 year, in the following year I pay zakat. You cannot do this. Zakat cannot be given to, we said, non-Muslims. The same ruling applies to wajib sadaqah. That is sadaqatul fitr, kafara, nadir, ushur, and nadir we said. Nafil sadaqah can be given to non-Muslims. Nafil sadaqah, that's just a general donation. You can donate to a non-Muslim who's in need. Royal Children's Hospital, donation. Muslim sister doesn't even look at him. Drive at the lights. But if he were to take $2 and put into that coin and says, wow, Muslims give money. If he gave $20, wow, these people with the tea towels on their heads, they also help. Wow, they're not stingy, huh? They talk to each other. Of course, you are representing, you're a Muslim. Our Shaykh Mahmud A Rahmatullah used to say, even when you're driving, when you're wearing this, you're wearing the beard, you're wearing the hijab, you need to obey all the traffic rules because you represent Islam more than anything else. But I'm in a hurry, man, yallah. Who's the mad driver? Another Muslim. Oh, go back to your country, you walk. That's what they say, they swear at you. Yeah? But a Muslim has to represent Islam even in traffic rules. So giving sadaqah in this regard, no problem, at the forefront. One of the groups of people that I met I love them so much, are the Fijian Muslims. In 1980, I went to Fiji for some da'wah purpose. I had the shock of my life. It changed my belief in Muslims forever. A handful of Muslims, the population is not 20,000 even. In an island where lack of means is galore, people don't have much. But every form of charity, every form of hard work and sacrifice for the general community, you would find the Muslims at the forefront. There's an earthquake, there's a tsunami, there is something happened, cyclone. Guess who the workers are? Trying to help the local, the pagans, Muslims. They won the hearts of the people. Amazing. The speaker of the house in the parliament was a Muslim. Several rich people are Muslim, millionaires of the land are Muslims. In that little, when we did not even have one school, people were fighting over King Khalid at that time. Who's going to have the control of King Khalid? KK, Islamic school. They had 19 high schools in that land. They had over 60, 70 primary schools. They have over 90 masajid in the land. Everybody goes to the masjid. Subhanallah, Indian Muslims who came as workers for sugarcane workers by the British. They brought them as slaves. Muslims, when there is a need, we have to be at the forefront. Just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, this nawafil sadaqah, nawafil charity can be given to a non-Muslim. And especially if you utilize it properly, it can be to your advantage and the advantage of our deen. If one cannot determine whether the recipient is needy or not, then it is better to make certain before giving them zakat. If zakat is given without inquiry and asking, and subsequently it is known that the recipient is wealthy, then that zakat that you paid is not valid. It has to be given again. I saw Ghalib John, he's so exhausted, poor, while I'm walking on the street, because he's got diabetes or something, and he looks so, probably had a rough day. Such a poor man, such a poor Muslim. I was carrying the zakat money in my pocket. Here's $500 zakat, and I walked off. He looked at me, he says, oh $500, no problem. And 2 days later I saw him in a function, driving a Mercedes, coming into the function, and with his family. Oh, he looks guest of honor. I said, oh no, I thought he was a poor man, I gave him my zakat, but he turned out to be richer than I am. Then what happens? There's zakat that once you realized that you have given to the wrong person, then you need to give the zakat again. But if you didn't know, that's a different story altogether. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges you with your intention. But you made, when it came into the open that this person is rich, and he didn't need any zakat, and by the time you realize that what happened to him, you're already gone, he doesn't know they gave their money, otherwise he would have returned, right? He didn't accept the zakat, but he just can't remember who it was, because he was in his own world. Okay, but in that case you need to pay zakat. Better still, if I knew him, I would go on to him, I gave you my zakat the other day, give me my money back. Maybe. Zakat will not be fulfilled by purchasing books for an institution or land purchase for public utility made as waqf. You cannot do this. Brother, inshallah, I sponsor the books that you get from Pakistan or Turkey. Here's the money for it. Where is this money from, bro? Zakat money. Sorry, you can't do this. Or you're buying a land, here's the money. Waqf, inshallah. Two different things. Waqf is different, endowment is different, then zakat. Zakat is different. Zakat cannot be used for kafan. Shrad, the white cloth that we cover the deceased person, for that particular person. Because at that time, he cannot become the owner of that possession. He's already dead. As soon as you die, your ownership finishes. The zakat money that you had is no longer yours. So you can't use it for the kafan. A deceased person's debt cannot be paid from zakat. You need to be very clear on this. That's all I'm going to talk on zakat. If you have any more questions on zakat, you can ask the sheikh over there. But you cannot use zakat for da'wah purposes at the mosque, give it to the mosque or do something else. Many people, unfortunately, accept the zakat from the people. Everybody comes. This is a custom. Not much in our part of the world where we were born in Turkey, for example. If you go to Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, this is an institution. Who collects them? The imams, the mosques. People come and they put their hands together and you accept my zakat, you accept my zakat. They take the zakat. And what do they do with the zakat? Yes, many of them distribute this to those 8 categories of people. Maybe 7 categories of people. Maybe 6 actually. Okay? But I hear and comes to me quite often and we read, many people are corrupt in this regard. What they do is use for their own institution. They pay for the electricity bill, they pay for the gas bill, they pay for the internet bill, they pay for the telephone bill, they pay for the other utilities, they pay for this, bank loan. This is haram. Cannot do this. Because the center does not qualify for this. Yes, when he should help the center. Or the person uses for his own benefit. This is absolutely haram, who does not qualify for the zakat. He buys stuff. He thinks that he owns this money now. It is an amana. You need to pay the zakat as quickly as possible. You cannot sit on the zakat and wait for 10 years. It must be paid immediately. What good is a donation if the donation doesn't reach to the poor? So we need to understand this concept, inshallah ta'ala. Another question that was asked to me about fortune telling. There are some people in our community who take advantage of the pure beliefs and simple hearts of certain people, especially women, elderly women and others, who claim to look at certain books and read certain signs and look at the stars and certain ancient formulas and what have you, or employing the jinns, the devils, the evil ones. And they say that I can tell you about your future. And tell me, let me look at your certain things about you. You bring me this, you bring me that, you bring me that. And let me have a look and I'll tell you what is in store for you in the future. The person that you're going to get married to is going to be this and this. Or if you don't want to get married to this person, here is the formula for you. You carry it around your neck or drink this 7 times a day and you do this and the person will never come close to you. What do they call? Black magic. Sihr. It's all haram. But in this country, this is so strife. They call themselves spiritual healers. There are so many. They charge you, they give you certain herbs. That's the front. But they charge for the main money from the other side. And they write certain things on the paper because you want to believe in it. And how much? Well, minimum start is about $300. For what did you write in it? Hello, mellow, yellow. Where are you going, fella? Today is Tuesday, and this idiot asked for something from me. Here, because he wants to believe in it, and it works. Wow, it really helped me. My headache is gone. I'm not talking about the ruqya. What is permissible in the Sharia? There is a halal and there is a haram. I'm referring to the haram way. There is a halal way. Many du'as, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us. Many ayat of the Qur'an, we call them shifa ayats. In the Qur'an, you read, if you are sincere, if you are a person of that caliber, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring the healing for that person. Allah is the one who gives the cure. Not the piece of paper. Allah is the one who gives the cure. This happened during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sent a sariyah, a group of soldiers, to fight a particular fight with the enemy. On the way back, they're tired, they're hungry. They passed through a pagan village who does not believe in Islam. They're kafir. They said, we want to pay for our food. We want to buy some food off you. Please give us some food. They said, no, we won't give you anything. Couple of sheep and couple of cows, man, you've got plenty. So you're not going to happen, we pay. They said, no, we're not going to give you anything. Because you're Muslims. We hate you. I said, okay. They went, and because it was at night, they camped just outside the village, because they did not even allow them to stay in the village. So they have to sleep at night, hungry. And all of a sudden somebody came from the village at night. Does any of you know any ruqya? Any reading? He says, yes, I do. One of them says. He says, can you please come? Because the daughter of the chief in the village, she's dying in the deathbed. He needs help. Please come. He goes and he reads. You know what does he read? Surah Al-Fatiha. Several times. Surah Al-Fatiha. And guess what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cured the girl before the morning. And the man was at the brink of death, the daughter, and the father is in despair, and looking for every means possible for cure, calls this Muslim that he hates most. But he was so impressed with this activity that happened to the daughter, that the daughter is cured, he gives him so much sheep and the cows and the food, the fat and everything else, the cheese, whatever that food was at the time. And he comes back to the village, he comes back to the brothers. Brothers waking up in the morning after Fajr, probably says, where have you been? He says, look what happened, what I brought. He said, did you steal them? Astaghfirullah al-Azim. Did you hit them or something? What did you do? You kill anybody? No. He says, no, this is what happened. They said, we can't touch this food. Why? Is it halal? Is it halal? No, we don't know. So we can't touch this food until we go and ask Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They brought all the sheep and the others. And they said, Ya Rasulullah, this is the situation. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had the biggest smile on his face. How did you know that Surah Al-Fatiha had healing properties in it? Very good, he says, you're smart. He says, you eat and give me some too. Give me some too. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam shared this. It's halal. If they give you a gift, no problem. If they give you a gift, but bro, it's going to cost you $7,000 if I save your daughter, because she's got the bell palsy, because the mouth has gone to the other side. Okay? And if I read certain ayat, it'll be okay in the morning. How much? 7,000. The man is so desperate because only child, the most beautiful, gorgeous daughter or son, he cannot go outside or go to school because he looks deformed in the face. So he uses some jinns and something else to ask for money for this. This is haram. This is haram. But if they give you a gift at the end and you did the right things, right recitations, right surah, right dua, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teaches us in the sunnah, then it is permissible. But if you did some the Hindu guru stuff, this is not allowed. It's absolutely haram. The hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is very clear. Man ata arrafan aw kahinan فصدقه بما يقول فقد كفر بما أنزل على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. He who goes to an arraf, I use the original words, arraf, the person who says, I know your future. fortune teller. Arif means a person who knows. Arraf is a one who knows a lot, more than he should. Ghaib, the future. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the future. Alimul ghaib is who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or kahin, soothsayer, again fortune teller, the same word. And whatever they tell him, he affirms it, he confirms it in his heart. Yeah man, he knew all of it. Wow. He might have a jinn next to him, telling him the lies, half-truths and what have you. And confirms what he confirms in his heart and agrees with him. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, this Muslim has at that moment completely rejected and denounced Islam and became a kafir because he has denounced what has been revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is that? Qur'an al-Kareem. Haram to do so. And yet you go amongst the Muslim women. Last Jum'ah, or the Jum'ah before, and Saturday before, a lady came to me and says, oh Imam, yes, Salaam alaikum, because everybody comes for problems. Says, can you do, I said, what? Can you do, musqa? I said, excuse me, I don't do musqa. No jeans? I said, sorry, wrong mosque, wrong place, wrong imam. I've never seen her before. She must have had a problem, and she comes. Unfortunately, many Muslim women do this. Especially if they don't like their daughter-in-law. Or their son-in-law. They go to the length of haram, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says they have rejected what has been revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To make money, income, you're in the business. It says this is a haram business. To get into this business, put big ads. The guru, Habiba Baba Baba, is telling your future. Give me your credit card number and call me. I'll tell you everything. Big Indian newspapers, look, they're big. You pay money. It's all haram. To give money is haram. To receive money from them or to become an agent for them or to work for them is also haram income for you. No jokes about it. To be superstitious in this regard and therefore go and ask these people, oh rabbit's, what do you call? Rabbit's foot is going to protect me. If you go under the leather, it's bad omen. Or if you open up a umbrella in the indoors, it's really bad. This is Australian bad omens. If I start with our culture, I'll be here until the morning. The Arabs used to have different beliefs. When the man gets up in the morning, he says, oh, the birds are flying that way. Bad omen, go home again. There are some stupid Muslims. I'm not talking about the non-Muslims. They live by it. They believe in it. They will not do anything whole day until they receive the morning's paper in their house, in their hands, open up the horoscope section and read what the fortune, their star is saying for the day. It says, don't go outside today. Avoid people today. Today is a troubled day. You're a Gemini. All rubbish. Absolutely haram. To believe in this and to pay money for that paper to tell you this, it's all haram. But brother, we don't believe in it, but it's interesting. Haram is haram. Khalas. Any income from this is also haram. The next issue is, we went for 1.5 hours. I think I have done my bit for today. I can stop if you want to because I've gone over my time. If you want me to continue for the next 5 minutes with this one and finish this, and inshallah, continue finishing? Put your hand up. Okay, inshallah. Who wants me to finish it right now? Chicken. Oh, 2 ladies are saying it back. Begging others. Is begging allowed in Islam? You see many people begging in different forms. There are some obvious ones in the Muslim countries in particular. The people who are crippled, they especially break their arms and legs and cut, and they put their funny arm in front of them and says, please give me some money. And you feel sorry for these people and you put some money. And the guy is so rich. He's so rich. In Egypt recently, I was in Egypt, in Alexandria. We're coming out of the car park and there's one lady like this. and put one guinea, the money, into her hand because she looked with a baby. The brother says she's been here for 15 years. And she gets on average minimum of 500 guinea. $500. 500. The average wage of a person in a month, a public servant, is 1,000 guinea. She gets 500 a day. Says she's one of the richest people, probably owns a car park. But she does this as a professional job. This is haram, not allowed. This is called begging. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in the following hadith that some of you can see and some of you cannot. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من طلب الدنيا حلالا تعففا عن المسألة وسعيا على عياله تعطفا على جاره لقي الله ووجهه كالقمر ليلة البدر. When a person seeks his livelihood, halal income, from halal sources, halal earnings, in order to look after his family, so that family don't go and beg somebody, and not to be burdened on his neighbors, because he feels sorry for his neighbors. Otherwise, neighbors going to come and give food to you and your family. They're going to look after. With dignity, away from begging. He shuns begging. He does not go near begging. Avoids begging. He works with his blood and sweat, as we say. This is fard upon a Muslim to do so, if you have the capacity. If you have people who are under your care, you must look out. You have to work hard. It's fard upon you. You can't sit and say, my rizq will follow me and alhamdulillah ala Centrelink. Doesn't work. If you are capable and the job is waiting for you, it is fard upon you to go and seek that means. If you do not work deliberately in order to get money from the Centrelink because you're lazy, I don't want to use the B word as the Aussies use because it has a different connotation. The money that you get from Centrelink is haram. Why is it haram, bro? It's allowed. I can cook the books. You cook their books, but you can't cook Allah's books. Australian government gives money to you. Okay, take taxes from people and give money to people who are in need. They are desperately seeking work, they cannot find, and there are a certain category of people, they are means tested, and this money is given to them so that the destitution, the poverty is eliminated and people are sharing the burden of each other. But if you abuse this particular system, it's haram. That's a different form of begging. Modern sense of begging. If you're capable of working, and if you've got a job to work, and it's been offered to you, and there is nothing wrong with what you're doing, it's halal, not a haram job. Gives you dignity, honor, worth, self-esteem. You go and work, this must be done so. Brother, I can't be bothered. I like my sleep in the morning. Then you answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can cheat the system, no problem. You can give any excuse to them that they want to hear because the public servant does in your heart. And he says, okay, that's what your excuse is. Okay, go. Nothing. So to work for your earning, to prevent your children from begging or yourself from begging or being burdened on the parasite on the community or the society, if you do this, you will come before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment with a face so bright and so beautiful, like the full moon, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says. How about begging? If you decided to beg, what does Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say? من فتح على نفسه بابا من السؤال فتح الله عليه 70 بابا من الفقر. He who opens the door of begging for himself deliberately, he wants to get by, he wants to just beg people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open 70 doors of poverty for him. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you more difficulty than you can ever imagine. On the other hand, if you lost your job, you're working, and you're healthy, and all of a sudden, instead of you went to home and we're retrenched. The company says we're going to bust and all go home. No more job. A true Muslim doesn't get hurt, doesn't feel sad. He says, Allah closed one door for me, He will open up another door for me, 10 of them for me. This is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You believe, this I believe, because I want to earn my living. I want to feed my children halal. I don't want to go and beg. If you open the door of begging, you become a beggar in the community. By the way, the reason why I brought up this topic is I keep on receiving emails and SMSs, people asking me. There is apparently some Muslim family, husband and wife team and a couple of kids. They're working on the Sini Road at the moment. They look at any decent, innocent looking Muslim. They say, brother, my wife had an operation. Look, her finger is completely, cut off. They even show you a picture, before and after. And after that, because we can't afford the hospital bill because she was kicked out from the Royal Melbourne Hospital and has to go to St. Vincent's Hospital or Alfred Hospital. Please, I need to borrow some money from you. I promise, wallah. I said, wallah. I'll give you in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time. And you look at her and she's covered completely and the child is looking. And you give mother, how much do you need, brother? I need minimum now at the moment $400 or $300, $200, whatever the case is. Yep, you give the $200. He says, brother, promise you I'll give you 2 weeks. What's your name, brother? What's my name, brother? What's your details, brother? Already gone. Many people, many sisters in particular, taken for a ride. Be careful. This is really bad for Muslims. Really bad for Muslims. And this begging happens in Hajj in particular. A lot. When the Muslim is in that emotional high, they don't care about this dunya. I was walking to the Masjid al-Haram, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh, actually I was coming out of it. Oh, in a different world altogether. Somebody came, handsome, good looking, healthier than me. He says, brother, I am from Kashmir. I said, Assalamu alaikum, brother from Kashmir. He says, I lost everything, I need some money, please, brother. I said, okay, brother. I opened my wallet like this. He said, take whatever you want. He took $800 Australian dollars that I had. Jazakumullah khairan, brother. Assalamu alaikum. I saw him a couple of days after, he's begging somebody else doing the same thing. Should not give to such people. We went into the bus, we're going to somewhere else, because you're encouraging that particular profession. In the bus, somebody came. He's got what are those bags? Bum bags? He puts his hand in, it's all cut at the bottom. And he's crying, literally crying. The tears are rolling. We're all watching, we're all in ihram. He says, my money is stolen, I am faqir, I'm Kashmir, and I'm from Kashmiri. I had 2 Kashmiris sitting next to me. From our Jama'ah, from here, they went to the Hajj with us. The guy called him, he says, come here. Which part of Kashmir are you from? He's speaking in Kashmir. He says, I don't understand what you're saying. He says, you're not from Kashmir and you're lying. They give you papers, they give you pictures. There are some more professional ones. They're asking for donation for their Islamic school, for their something else in their madrasa or some orphanage. They've got pictures nicely done, some beautiful, sikka, the stamps on it, and they ask. You do not know. Sometimes you have to trust your heart, either way, that he's a con artist, or he's telling the truth, and you give. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. But certain people, if you know in the community, are abusing this particular system, where there is a way. I will talk, inshallah, in detail next week of the conditions under which a Muslim is allowed to beg, when that begging becomes halal for him. Inshallah, I will look at this and tell you a couple more stories afterwards. I have done too much today. There is a question. Yes?
Last week you mentioned finding money.
Yes, this comes after this topic. Luqata comes after this topic, inshallah. So what happens to finding money? And Do you have possession of it or the ownership of it? And what are the duties and adabs that we have to follow, especially in this country, can be possible, and we need to know, inshallah ta'ala. Any other questions? جزاكم الله خير الجزاء. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وشاكرا وتوبة نصوحا. Ya Rabbil Alameen, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, we beg you, we implore you, for bless us with beneficial knowledge. Let us learn your deen properly, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Let us practice your deen with sincerity, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Let us learn all the ahkam, Ya Rabbil Alameen, and apply it in our lives, Ya Rabbil Alameen, so that you may become pleased with us, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We want to become good Muslims, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Please love us, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Accept us, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Show us the path, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Rabbi, remove all of our challenges before us, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Rahman Rahim, treat us with hilm, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Give us the ability to see what is haqq and truth and abide by it, Ya Rabbil Alameen. And show us what is batil and false and evil and haram, and give us the strength and audacity to keep away from it, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Rahman Rahim, bless us with all the goodness in this world and the hereafter, and protect us from the hellfire, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Forgive our parents, forgive our teachers, forgive our children, forgive all of our loved ones, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Let us live as Muslims, and let us breathe our last as Muslims with the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Let us be resurrected amongst the Salihin, Siddiqeen, wa Shuhada and Anbiya on the day of judgment, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Let us get together and gather under the flag of Liwa'ul Hamd of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Let us enter into Jannah with Dukhul al-Awwaleen behind Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Rabbi, bless us with the sharaf, with the honor of being neighbor to your Nabi Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Ya Rabbi, also bless us with your vision, with your jamal from Jannah, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, wahdaka la sharika lak, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العظيم. لله تعالى الفاتحة.